Behind a lot of broken decisions is a young man who never had guidance, never had covering, never had mentorship. Because when nobody teaches you, life will. And life can teach hard. That's why mentorship matters. It can change a mindset, a future, and a life. And today, I want to talk about the power of mentorship. I am a life coach, transformative life coach, career coach, group coach. So very different from a mentor, but there's some similarities, but there's a very defined line between the two. And I've been blessed to be a mentor to a bunch of amazing mentees. And I've also been blessed to be a mentee to several amazing mentors. I think mentorship is just one of those things that I found out earlier in life that it really resonated with me since I was a fatherless child. So, Coach Shapiro, who ran the greenhouse in the back of my grammar school, and he did wrestling and flag football. Older gentleman just came through. He was part of the gym team, but he would stay after school and run those programs, motivate you. I believe Coach Shapiro was like really one of my first mentors. And why I say Coach Shapiro, because I dated back to when I resonated with an adult who was outside of my home, who didn't know me, who influenced me, but also who inspired me to be a better athlete, be a respectful athlete, an honest athlete, but work your ass off athlete, because Coach Shapiro didn't play. And I think with Coach Shapiro and just his approach to just athletics and giving back to a community. He was an older Italian man, and everybody that came to his programs were black and brown. And he worked with all of us and looked beyond any of the stigmas or maybe any of the judgments that other folks might have. He looked past all that, and he was a true mentor. And it wasn't a very deep mentor relationship because I believe mentor relationships have levels. It was more of a like immediate or like maybe initial mentor relationship without saying it was a mentor mentee relationship because he was Coach Shapiro. I think as life goes on, and obviously my initial mentors was my mother because she obviously mothered me and took care of me and guided me and allowed me to mess up, but hold me accountable. And obviously siblings as well and different friends. But as I think back and the different mentors that I've had, a lot of my mentors were females, and I don't know if that was by you know, just how I gravitated to my mother and being a fatherless child and just kind of in that space of trusting women more than males. But, I had a few. And, I think of women like Pat Jaschka, who was the emergency services coordinator for the settlement house in Chicago, Milwaukee and Division Street. That's where the settlement house is. It's an organization, pillar of the community, a beacon of light for the community. They provided different services from paying your light bill, your gas bill, sometimes your rent. Did a bunch of amazing food programs for the neighborhood because they knew the neighborhood was thriving, but also, still struggling to a degree to get by, right? Just to get by. And Pat Jaschka, she led a lot of those food programs. And beyond that, she was someone who just truly believed in me when I felt like I didn't have anybody that believed in me, to be honest with you. And she was a true mentor. She guided me in that way. She pushed me, even when I didn't want to be pushed. And I just really appreciated her firm hand because I was one who needed that as a youngin. I needed that firm hand that like, you're gonna do this. Because if you gave me options, I was gonna, pick galore. I'm like, let's go. You gave me options. Um, and the beautiful thing about one mentor is they connect you to another without knowing it. And Pat Jaschka, she connected me to the life of camp, where I've gained a lot of mentors from males, females, and throughout that passage that I went through of finding different mentors that looked and sounded like me or came from the same demographic, it really in tuned me as I got older to like fill a gap. And as I got older, I was like, I want to create. a mentors program. And, when you create something like that, it has to be meaningful. It took a couple years to build. It took the right people to kind of put it together, but it also took the right teams, mentees to make it happen. And that's the other side. I was speaking more of my mentors, mentors who supported me. So I obviously speaking as a mentee, there's a benefit in being a mentee because as much as my mentor um, gave me guidance and such, there was times as a mentee I was there for my mentor because mentors are going to have moments just like any other human being. And although their front shell is all about showing you their strength, their wisdom, their courage. I think the most vulnerable mentors are the best where they can show you all sides. And that's true facts. Like I am one of those mentors. I'm gonna show you all sides. And as I developed and created programs that connected to children in the mentor space, I started to obtain mentees. And the beautiful thing about having a mentee is there's so many levels to it. I think for me as a mentor, having a mentee, there's just a pride to protect, to guide, to play devil's advocate or devil's avocado, if you want to call it. Um, be able to guide them in a respectful way, but also like, I've been through a lot of lessons in my life. So I wanted to always if I felt like I was hearing roads that were coming some of the ways of my mentees that weren't beneficial roads, I would, excuse me, I would make sure that I would throw some seeds, plant some seeds in their mind and their heart about like, yeah, I was almost standing with a sign like, hey, this is coming about a mile away. Just to let you know, it says trouble. Just to let you know, or hey, you're not focused, so you might not make that team. This is what that sign says. And that's what I loved about being a mentor, what I love being a mentor. And same thing, mentees in my life and the mentees that I've had, I've mentored males and females. So it was never about gender specific. It was always just about connecting to the right mentee. And what does that mean for me? There's a connection immediately. Like they're open to me, I'm open to them. They want to learn from me, I want to learn from them. We both give each other the space to speak. We both are committed to the time that we make with each other. I think those are those components that really speak to the benefits of positive relationship with someone who's older than you, who's outside of your house, who's not your parents or your siblings or your uncles or your cousin or your aunties. It is people, who are outside of that spectrum per se. And the beautiful thing about having a mentee and a mentor relationship and vice versa, and the connection of those two is really the energy that's created first off of the foundation, building trust with each other, meeting with each other. And then that foundation becomes even stronger where this relationship really builds and it can go for years. And sometimes you don't hear from your mentee or mentor, but when you reach out to them, they actually are still connected to you, rooted to you in that strong mentor mentee relationship. I believe a mentor is someone who's going to guide you, right? Who's going to give you perspective, who's probably going to tell you you should probably go this direction or give you the options like, hey, here's the a la carte of things you could do with that situation. And as a mentor for me, I always wanted to make sure that I gave the a la carte, but I always spoke to the part of the a la carte that really resonated for me and where I was leaning to give you that advice, right? Way different than a coach. A coach is not going to push you in that direction because a lot of those decisions you can make, they're within yourself. And as a life coach, transformative coach, I'm gonna grab those things and bring them out of you, right? So then you're making the decision. I'm just supporting you in that process. Where a mentor is gonna say, hey, I got the wisdom. I know what you're going through. I've been there. I've been through something similar. So here's some like preventative maintenance um, things that you can do to support where you're going with that situation, right? It's just a different approach. And I think the power of mentorship and being a mentee is just that. There's this learning relationship, there's this connection of understanding. When you're in the pocket with your mentee and mentor, there's just a level of intimacy in the respectful way. I mean, intimacy of just vulnerability, Your mentee might call you when they lose a family member, something bigger, right? Like that relationship might start off small, like I can't find a girlfriend, or I can't pass this test, or my mom always ragging on me, whatever it may be, right? I think as that relationship evolves, as the mentor and mentee evolve, I think those conversations and due to the connection, if the connection is right, it's strong, and it's capable to breathe the breath together, it definitely supports the space of evolution, right? And when I speak of evolution in other segments, when it comes to evolution of a mentor mentee, I think those life moments and how they're shared with each other are even more in abundance, especially if that relationship's tight. Meaning, like if you're really solid tight with your mentor or mentee, it doesn't matter if you don't talk for 2 years, you lose someone like your mother or your father or just someone that's really pinnacle to your life. That mentor or mentee are going to connect, right? They're gonna reconnect, and that mentor is going to play that role again. It's not going to be like, oh, do I do this? There's no double dutch in that. You're not double dutching it. You're going to do it as a mentor because that's what you committed to. I always tell people mentorship is for life. It doesn't end. It only ends when your mentor becomes an elder and transitions, right? But unfortunately, sometimes that relationship ends because some people just leave too early, right? And unfortunately, I had both sides. I have lost some of my mentors who were elders and who have transitioned, but I always think of all the gems they have given me, all the faith they instilled in me, but their belief. Man, I'm telling you, when someone believes in you, mentor, mentee, whatever you want to call it, uh, friend, colleague, whatever you want to put there, it's such a powerful thing. I mean, your cup can be empty of belief. And let one person come there to you and say, I believe in everything you're doing. Show me those things. And they gauge interest and they put interest in you, an investment of time, energy, ears, receptiveness. You feel that. You automatically feel that cup filled. And a mentor does that in so many ways, right? Especially some of your great ones who just kind of like fine tune their mentoring skills or approach. So, when you lose it on one side, I realize as my elder or my mentor transition, which I lost a couple, that was a passing of the torch to me as now I'm becoming the elder. Now I become that mentor and I hold that space and I stand on that business of that space. The other hard side of it is when you have a mentee in your life and you lose them, right? Like they're younger than you, and you've mentored them for years, but maybe didn't see them, but you're always their mentor because mentorship is for life. And unfortunately, due to circumstances, life, and I've had it in different variety, whether I lost a mentee in Chicago due to violence or, due to illness. Either way, it's not easy to consume or take on because, I think when you lose a mentee, for me, because mentorship is so deeply rooted, I almost lose a little piece of me. The memories stay. I immediately think of all the fun moments, all the laughing moments, all the conversations, all the oh shit moments, all the conversations that was like, oh, where's this going? They all run back to you, right? When someone transitions out your life, there's this moment of memories that flood you. They should flood you, and they don't. Maybe you're not tapping into it as much as you should be. So think about that. But they flood to you. That you think of those people, and recently with mentees and losing them, I just lost one, and I think that really hit me because the one that I lost was just amazing. He's sunshine, light up a room. He walk in it, he's lining it up all day. As I think of the person and the memories, the moments, the discussions, the freestyle sessions, because Coach Mr. Adam definitely spits bars. That is another part of who I am. And I've done it with an abundance of teens and mentees at my camp programs that I ran. And I think of just all those moments, hold them dear to my heart. But I can't lie, a little piece of me with that transition is lost. And I don't know if that is due to just losing people, right? Just kind of like boom, just meters up. Um, but hold them in my heart. You shall hold them in your heart. And maybe for today on Friday Transformation, where maybe it's not as uppity, little deep, bringing it back, reach out to one of your mentors. Check in with them. If you're a mentee of them, check in with them. Ask them how they doing. How's life treating them? Go out and get a coffee with them. Do something with them. Honor them. Give them their flowers. If you have a mentee and you haven't hollered at that mentee for about a year or two, here's your message. Reach out to them. You know, life is so short. You hear that commonality word of life's too short, that term, right? Oh, life's too short. And I heard it throughout my life. Even Too Short, the MC had that song, Life is Too Short. And man, you kind of forget that it is until you lose someone. And then you're like, damn, man, life is too short. Never underestimate the power of mentorship. It can interrupt pain, redirect confusion, and help a person see possibility where they once only saw struggle. Sometimes it is not money. Sometimes it is not resources. Sometimes what changes a life is a person who shows up, speaks truth, and refuses to let somebody walk alone. So honor the mentors who help shape you. And when it is your turn, be willing to reach back, pour in, and help guide somebody forward. Because one mentor, one conversation, and one moment of real presence can change a life. Who's helping you heal?